I'm standing here in my studio, and I'm looking at a document that was never supposed to leave the secure servers of the Pentagon. It's a midnight telegram, a flash message from Brussels that just changed the world forever. You won't hear this on the mainstream news yet, and if you do, they'll try to spin it. But the truth is simpler and much more terrifying. The West, as we know it, is dead. While our boys were over the Persian Gulf tonight, while American pilots were flying into the teeth of Iranian air defenses in Operation Epic Fury, our so-called allies in Europe were sharpening the knife. This document confirms that NATO has officially declined to support the ground offensive. They've locked the door. They've left us to fight alone. It's a betrayal of an 80-year-old promise. For decades, we were the shield. We were the bank. We were the blood. And the moment the fire starts, they vanish. I'm telling you right now, the lights in the Élysée Palace in Paris stayed on all night, but they weren't burning for us. They were burning to figure out how to stop us. This isn't just a policy shift. This is a divorce, a cold, calculated abandonment of the American soldier by the very people whose freedom we've guaranteed since 1945. They think they can have our protection without our partnership. They're wrong. Let's talk about the reality on the ground. Operation Epic Fury isn't some minor border skirmish. We are talking about 5,500 targets hit in the last 72 hours. We are talking about the total destruction of the Iranian Soleimani-class fleet. This is a regional reset. President Trump and Secretary Hegseth aren't playing for a stalemate. They are playing for a total regime collapse. But here is the catch. War is expensive. It's expensive in dollars, and it's expensive in lives. We've already lost 7 service members in a drone strike on a base in Kuwait. 7 American families are getting a knock on the door tonight. And for what? So we can protect global oil lanes that Europe uses more than we do. The stakes couldn't be higher. If we go this alone, the America First doctrine isn't just a slogan anymore, it's a survival strategy. We are at a turning point where we have to ask, if NATO won't stand for the West, why is America still paying for it? We are watching the Strait of Hormuz turn into a graveyard of tankers. Gas prices are spiking to $3.58 at your local pump, and yet Brussels is sitting on its hands. Why? Because they want us to fail. They want to see the American giant stumble so they can go back to their comfortable status quo. Enter the face of the resistance, Mark Carney. Up in Canada, the Prime Minister is positioning himself as the last defender of the liberal order. He's looking across the border at us with a look of pure, unadulterated arrogance. Carney and the bureaucrats in Brussels represent the old world. They are the architects of hesitation. They love our protection. They love our trade. But the moment we ask for a shred of loyalty, they start talking about international law and diplomatic restraint. It's a joke. These are the same people who have been underspending on their own defense for years, treating the American taxpayer like a bottomless ATM. They think they can wait us out. They think if they just withhold support, we'll come crawling back to the table. But they've fundamentally misunderstood the man in the Oval Office, and they've definitely misunderstood the mood of the American people. We've watched them enrich themselves while we built their bases. We've watched them sign energy deals with our enemies while we patrolled their borders. The hypocrisy is so thick you can't even breathe in Brussels anymore. They aren't allies. They're landlords who haven't fixed the plumbing in 50 years, and they're mad we're finally moving out. Now look at the other side. Look at Secretary Pete Hegseth. Look at the men and women on the USS Abraham Lincoln tonight. I've spent time talking to people in this administration, and the sentiment is clear. They are tired of begging for backup. This isn't just about a war in Iran. This is about the burden of the brave. My own opinion, it's high time we stopped being the world's police force for free. I remember talking to a veteran who told me, we keep the world safe so they can talk down to us. That ends now. Trump isn't just fighting a war in the Middle East. He's fighting a war for American sovereignty. He's telling the world that if you want the protection of the most powerful military in history, you don't get to sit on the sidelines when the bullets start flying. We are carrying the weight of the entire world's security on our shoulders, and our knees are starting to buckle. Not because we aren't strong enough, but because the people we're carrying are trying to trip us while we walk. It's an impossible position, and it's why this split, as painful as it is the most honest thing that has happened in geopolitics in our lifetime. The tension reached a boiling point yesterday during a secure call between the White House and French President Emmanuel Macron. My sources tell me it wasn't a diplomatic conversation. It was a shouting match. Macron told Trump that Europe would not be dragged into an American crusade. Trump's response: he told Macron that if France didn't commit troops by Friday, the US would begin a scheduled withdrawal of all personnel from Ramstein Air Base in Germany. The Donroe Doctrine is in full effect. It's the ultimate ultimatum: join us or we leave you to the wolves. For the first time in history, the US is willing to walk away from the table. The old world is in a state of absolute panic because they realized their security blanket just got set on fire. The room fell silent. No more diplomatic language, just the cold, hard truth. The alliance is dead. You can't have a mutual defense treaty where only one side does the defending. That's not a treaty. That's a protection racket where the protector is the one getting extorted. But here is the part that will really blow your mind. As the NATO split worsened, Trump pivoted. He looked north. In a series of posts that sent the Canadian Parliament into a tailspin, he referred to Canada as the 51st state. Now, some say it's a troll. I say it's a tactical masterstroke. By mentioning annexation and resource security, Trump is telling the world, if the Atlantic Alliance is dead, we will consolidate the hemisphere. If Canada wants to block our trade and refuse to help in Iran, then maybe they don't get to be a separate entity anymore. Imagine the shock. The world held its breath. It was the ultimate mic drop. It wasn't just a threat to Canada. It was a message to the world. America is done playing by the old rules. We have the resources, we have the energy, and we have the geography. If Europe wants to go it alone, fine. We'll build a fortress on this side of the pond that nobody can touch. And if that means redrawing the lines on the map to ensure our survival, then that's what's going to happen. The social media fallout was unlike anything I've ever seen. #NATO is over started trending within minutes. The dead internet theory was proven in real time as millions of bots flooded the zone to amplify the chaos. But look at the people. In Ottawa, there were riots. In Michigan and Ohio, there were rallies. People are waking up to the fact that the old world order was a cage and the bars just broke. Even the tech giants are scrambling. Meta just bought a bot-only social network because the real world is becoming too volatile to handle. The ripple effect is everywhere. From gas prices hitting $3.58 to the split in the GOP, the world just shattered, and the pieces are falling exactly where the America First movement wants them. We have to ask ourselves, what is the moral of this story? To me, it's about dignity. For too long, we've been told that we need the permission of a committee in Brussels to protect our families. We've been told that globalism is a one-way street where we give and they take. That era is over. Standing alone isn't a weakness, it's the ultimate form of strength. If NATO won't stand for Western civilization, then they don't deserve the American blood that has kept them free for 80 years. It's about being brave enough to say no more. We are witnessing the birth of a new era where American interests are the only North Star we follow. This isn't just another news cycle. This is the moment the map was redrawn. We are living through history, and you have a front row seat. If you are tired of seeing our country beg for backup from people who don't even like us, if you believe that America should never have to ask for permission to be great, then you need to be part of this movement. Hit that subscribe button. Share this video before it gets fact-checked into oblivion. We are the ones who are going to decide what the next 80 years look like. Join us, because the world is changing, and I'm going to be right here to tell you the truth. They're too afraid to say. Stay bold. Stay free. I'll see you in the next one.